going to be a very tight game, Paul. I can see this either being a 1-0 or 2-1, whoever wins. I don't like the thing with Ireland is we can't take these teams lightly because in the past under Stephen Kinney, we've lost early in the group, and then whether it's the World Cup qualifying or the Nations Leagues groups, and then it's basically our best performances that come in when Stephen Kinney needs a result to save his job. Basically,
Hmm.
what I would like to see now with Ireland is get a result, get wins early in the group. Now, obviously, we know we lost to France 1-0 at home. That can happen. Basically the player for player. No Irish player will get into the squad. Never mind the first 11 of the French team. Not a hope. But what I would say is we have to try and win these games. Certainly not lose them, but we really need if we want to have any say in this group, particularly against probably Holland because they're not the best at the moment. We need to start. We need to win these games. We need to win these games early in the group because we got Gibraltar on Monday night. We're going to beat them. We might have much faith in Ireland, but we're going to beat Gibraltar because we're 3 points. We're 3 points on the board after Monday at least. So what I really would like to see from the season now is go for it in this game. Obviously, player conditions are going to be extremely hot. Try and keep the ball because if we're running around after Greece, we're eventually going to tire out more than them because they're used to these temperatures as well. So the game plan is going to be massive. We have to try and keep the ball much better than what we normally do, create chances, and maybe get an early goal if we can at all. So we could dictate the pace of the game. But yeah, I think we really need to start winning these. These are the games that Kinney hasn't won in the past. Early games in the group to give ourselves a chance of getting into first or second. And this is a test. And if we win this game, it'll be massive for him because we'll have Gibraltar then on Monday night. We'll have 6 points on the board, 6 points out of 9. That ain't bad, particularly when
Yeah.
you have France in your first game. So I really hope we can win this game because it'll set us up then now for the rest of the tournament now after August.
Yeah, I suppose the only thing is you're talking about France and Holland being the top two. If you look at Ireland, there's an old saying: you have to learn to walk before you jog or before you run. So before we even consider being competitive against Holland and France and teams like
We
that
need,
at level, Greece are below that level. So we have to match and in fact beat the likes of Greece. And it's not a derogatory about Greece, but teams that standard about Greece before we can even talk a match in France and Netherlands in
yeah,
the top level. So this is the next step up. It's going from the walk to the jog to the run. So I think this is a crucial game. Can we match Greece? As I said, Greece has a good history. They're at home. They maybe have the advantages, the weather conditions and all that, the home fans. But ultimately, this is a big step up for Ireland. So can we match this before we even talk about going even further and qualifying? These are the countries that we have to and the teams that we have to be able to match and eventually get victories over.
yeah. I agree with you, Paul. Because if you look at our Nations League groups with Kinney since he took over, now we've lost to like Finland, lost like Wales, we've lost to Armenia for God's sake. And we're very lucky to beat Armenia in 3-2 at Lansdowne Road. So like we had a fantastic victory against Scotland, and we were sort of on a rescue mission away to Scotland. If we won that game away, we could have put real pressure on Ukraine and Scotland to top that group. But unfortunately, we lost. These are the games we really need to start winning. We need I remember, I think Didier Mann said in RT one time, we need to start winning games that mean something to the group. Like early in the group, we need to be in contention at the end of it. So the only way you can get attention in the group is by winning a few early matches in the group, so you have a chance, at least a chance, a bit of hope of actually getting into the first or second place. The games that Ireland have won, the big games that Ireland have won, have been rescue missions for Stephen Kenny in his job, so he can build something and hopefully progress in the next tournament. So this is the next tournament. I mean, Stephen Kenny has been saying that the Euro qualifiers of 2024 is where he'll be judged, and to be fair, he knows that himself and he's put it all on the line out here. So if we don't have a good tournament in this qualifying campaign, I would take third and the playoff now if we can sneak in there, no problem. But we got to be competitive and we got to start winning some games. And we can't go to Greece now and lose like 1-0 like we did against bloody Armenia there last year in the Nations League. They'll just they'll put us out of the group already, because within we'll beat Gibraltar obviously, and we'll beat Gibraltar away. We'll have 6 points, but everybody else is going to have that 6 points as well. Uh, we'll have to play Greece and Dublin. We have to play France away, and we'll have to play Holland twice as well. So we really need to dare not lose. But I really do think if we have any say in the group, we really have to win this game. And I think the players know that, the management know that, and especially the FAI knows that. So I think I think if you ask me for prediction, I think I'll go. 2-1 Ireland, because I really do think we need to put best foot forward now here and get that win. Anyway at all, I don't care if it's one of the worst performances we've had under Kenny. If we win the game, I'm happy. It's just the performances have been good sometimes, and the results haven't matched them. So I would take a scrappy 2-1, 1-0, whatever win at all here on Friday night, because at the end of the day, Kenny's going to be Kenny's not going to be judged on performances in this qualifiers. He's going to be judged purely on results now, because I want the performance that we had against France for the rest of the campaign to set the standard, and now it's time to shove it on and get results against Greece, Gibraltar, and maybe give ourselves at least a chance of going up against Holland for that second place, because second place guarantees us a place in the Euros. France, I think, will run away with the group in the end. They've already beaten Holland 4-0. They've beaten Ireland 1-0. Obviously, they'll beat Gibraltar and Greece. So I think we have to be at least in contention against the Dutch to give us a chance. I don't think the Dutch are good, that great, but they are better than us. So we really need to put as much pressure on them as much as we can, because at the end of the day, if we go out in the group stages with the qualifiers with a whimper, we're not going to be set up properly for the playoff if we can manage to get there. So
yeah,
I would really hope now that we can put our best foot forward and get the win, get the points on the board, whatever way we can, and then move on from there.
Yeah, the talk about when you go away from home, you need a mentality, whether it is club or whether it is international or whatever sport is. When you go away from home, just look at that squad there. You can see the picture of the graphic in front of you. Do you think we have enough of players with that mentality to go away from home, a passionate crowd, the weather conditions? We all know about referees and hometown decisions. Being away from home, if we don't have the right mentality, it can almost build up on top of you, and you're almost beaten before you leave the dressing room. So, just a quick opinion: do you think these players, that graphic, have they got the mentality to go away from home and get a result?
I think certain players have, Paul, but they might have the mentality, but they mightn't have the quality. I think in midfield for Ireland has always been an issue. The creativity. Jeff Hendrick, we mentioned him there last week. Personally, not having to go one individual player, but I think his days are past him, particularly international level anyway. Will Smallbone I think he's a good creative player. Jimmy McGrath looks decent on the ball sometimes as well, and Brown. Josh Cullen is more of a defensive midfielder. And Jack Taylor, to be quite honest with you, I don't know too much about. He's at Peterborough United, he's at League One. The man that I think who is fearless has the mentality of I think even of a winner at this stage is Evan Ferguson. I know people keep on about him. I've seen the papers. He's only 18, 19. We shouldn't be expecting too much of a young player like this. We shouldn't be expecting him to carry us. But he has that aura about him, I think, personally. I think he's a very good young player. He's fearless. He's playing with a good Brighton team. And to be honest with you, he's a step above, not having to go to all the other players, but he's clearly a step above all the other players in that squad. He's only 18, but he looks very. He can link up well. He can score goals. He can hold it up. I think he'll be the best player for Ireland over the next couple of years, because he has the talent. He has the right management with De Zerbi at Brighton to improve on. I think Kenny will let him flourish as well with the Irish team. He's already got his international goal. He's got that off his back. He got it against a friendly against Latvia. He's only played about 5 or 6 times for Ireland, but he looks a very good player. I think he has the head about him. He's a wise head and young shoulders, as they say. No, he doesn't seem to be carry. He doesn't seem to have expectation is gone to his head. He seems a down to earth fella. He seems to love his teammates as well. I'm hoping he'll be able to step up now on Friday for Ireland as well. Mikey Johnson looks a good, half decent player. Yeah, he's come on a couple of times. He's a bit trickery, quick feet, can cross the ball, can score a goal too. If you look at Johnny, if you know about leaders, John Egan's a very good leader. And he'd be massive now for Ireland, because especially now with Seamus Cohen being out. Nathan Collins is good on the ball, but he has lost his place at Wolves. We mentioned last week the goalkeeping issue. None of those 3 goalkeepers, Bazunu, Callagher, or Travers, are playing. Not with their clubs at the moment, and Bazunu lost his place for the last 5 or 6 games. Callagher is at Liverpool. We discussed it last week. He needs to get out of Liverpool. He's not playing. And Travers is number 2 at Bournemouth. So the goalkeeping is an issue, Paul.
Yeah, sorry, no, just going to crush you there, Noel. They always say it. I don't know, there's much nowadays, but years ago when you were going away from home, the first thing you do in the first 15, 20 minutes is not to concede. So
Oh, yeah.
just look at that goalkeeper, whoever the goalkeeper is, and your defence. Would that be the first policy? Not to concede, get on the ball, try and get a touch of the ball. But whatever you do in the first 15, 20 minutes, there's an old saying, you can win the game away from home. Make damn sure you don't lose it by getting the home crowd getting ahead of you and the home team getting ahead and the crowd getting behind them. So it will be crucial that first 10, 15, 20 minutes that we stand firm.
Oh, definitely, Paul, because, you know, being 1-0 down, like, Ireland find it hard enough to score in most games, but being 1-0 down and having to score two just to win it, it can be a tough ask. I mean, Kenny's teams have a history of not being able to score. Now, they have scored a lot of goals in the last couple of games, all right. You know, they scored 3-0 against Scotland, but having to score 2 goals to win the game, and then there's always a chance they could get the equaliser as well, because we sometimes, when we go ahead, we don't seem to keep the ball and we invite pressure onto us. So, like you said, it's imperative now that we keep the game tight. Now, obviously, go and attack as well when we have the opportunity to attack, but don't give anything silly. Don't give her any silly free kicks. Don't make any rash challenges in the penalty area, because there's always a chance with a home referee, and with probably VAR is going to be there as well. So a mistimed tackle early in the game, you know, if it's 1-on-1 with the keeper, or if you're the last defender, it could be a penalty and a red card. So nothing rash has to be done in the first 10, 15 minutes. Get yourself settled into the game. Don't give anything stupid, and then build from there. So I think though these young players, they are young. Obviously, they're young players. If it says if they're young, but they have a good balance of experience now. Kenny has thrown in a lot of young players in the Nations League and the qualifying campaign for the World Cup. So these players, even though they're young, they have more caps than what you would expect them to have. So I think now they would have learned from that, get the mistakes out of them early in the last campaign in the Nations League, and hopefully now they'll drive on and get this win that we need. I don't care what way the game goes. They come in with board, our game. I just want 3 points on the board from at 10 o'clock on Friday night.
Yeah, but I suppose I know, and I accept what you're saying there is, but invariably, if you're going to get a win away from home, you have to have a performance too. As you know, I know there's another occasion you could be under the cosh for 89 minutes and hit him one chance, but ultimately you have to be able to get on the ball away from home too. So not only do you need the technical ability, but you need the moral courage too away from home. So would that be a kind of key point?
Totally, Paul. I mean, when I was maybe, like, we've had many performances in the past, but we haven't had the results. That's why I would take
I
scrappy
understand
1-0 win. Scrappy, but yeah, you're right though. We need, if we play well and win the game, that's even better. But yeah, like you said, we need to get on the ball. Don't be afraid of it, particularly in midfield. I always look at midfield where there's lads that I feel that don't take the responsibility to get on the ball, start passing it. You know, don't. I see sometimes a lot of Irish players pointing midfield. Give it to him, give it to him. No, you take the ball. If you have a bit of space, take it and start building it up. And don't go for the long ball, which is the easy option. Because with a long ball, anybody can win it. It can come straight back to you again in less than 20 seconds' time. So I think get on the ball in midfield particularly. But I think I think the young players are in their small ball night. Josh Cullen will start. He's a defensive midfielder. I'd like to see him. I know he's a defensive midfielder, but I'd like to see him just pass the ball a little bit more. He seems to always pass the square, pass the sideways, pass it forward as well. I'd like to see him to do. And he's going to be in the Premier League next season now, so he's going to have to improve that in his game, I feel. Because it's all right sitting back and protecting the back four or the back three, whichever we're going to play with. But I would like to see him. I'd like to see him do progressive passes. It seems also to be sideways or back. I'd like to see him do a little bit more on that. Jeff Hendrick, if he starts, he has to get on the ball and start playing, because he seems to be. I always seem to feel that he's the man that everyone knocks, but he's an experienced player. We do expect a bit more from him, and if he does that, I want to see a performance from him. And Jason Knight, he's playing at League One, I think, at Derby still, but he's a good player for Ireland. And Jason Malumbi, he ran his socks off against France. I thought he was brilliant against France. Just came up short. I just feel that we got ourselves up for that game against France. It was a big game, and obviously with France coming to town, Mbappe coming to town. But I really would hope that we were up for this game as much as obviously for as much as France. But we need to show the same determination and skill and commitment that we saw in the French game. Then we I want to see in the Greece game, particularly away, because we can't get